This is a stone ground wholemeal which has been sifted to take out the very coarse particles of bran. Fine particles of bran and fine particles of germ are left in there. That's just why it's brown flour, and this is like a lighter bread and is kind of historically the most suitable bread. This Parisians accept this as bread. So it's been sitting there for an hour hydrating, that is soaking up water. So already we have gluten strands automatically formed by themselves because I didn't need this, and I reiterate this theme all the time. The more you stand aside, sourdough bread makes itself. So it needs 10 grams of sea salt. So 10 grams of sea salt. Mix that through, because this first hydration or soaking is done completely without sea salt, any salt. So there he is. That's quite a sticky and a thick dough, and I'm going to add 250 grams of the leaven, which I prepared here, which is fully beautifully mature and wonderful and ready to go. Look at this, gorgeous. Okay, so 250 grams. And of course that's going to make the dough a lot wetter. So I'm just going to add a little bit, handful of flour to try and make a more doughy texture, and I'll simply mix that in. I love this technique with a bowl, and it replicates industrial bread machinery actually. You can stand and simply spin this bowl as you work the bread, rather than doing any labour intensive, laborious, type stuff, which can be difficult and hard. So just work it in with the slip, the baker's second hand, valuable equipment. Get one or cut one out of an old piece of plastic, however, buy one. Baker's slips are so important. So this is coming together as a pretty sticky dough, but we want this to be a bit soft because that will enable it to rise more easily and to have those nice holes in it that we want. And that's the bottom line of bread making, really. No hard doughs. Doughs have to be soft. So this is coming together nicely. It's a bit sticky. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of flour. Remember, this is beyond recipes. That's enough. And now I'm going to get in there with my hands and do the minimum of kneading, because as you can see, this is kind of doing it itself in a way. Just spin the bowl as you're doing it. It requires a lot less effort. Pretty sticky dough here. But again, as I leave that to stand, or to prove as we call it, that will slightly firm up. The gluten which I'm forming, these strands which hold it all together, is absorbing the water as we go, and the motion of kneading forms the kind of geometric matrix of the bread, which will come out as a nice airbag. This is a fraction stickier than what I want, so we're beyond recipes here. I'm just going to put a little bit more flour in it to make it handleable. However, if you don't want to, this is a perfectly good sticky sourdough. Not everybody is capable of handling it, so I'm just making it a bit easier for you and show you that it will come together now as a firmer and a rounder integrated entity, which is what we want. But there's minimum kneading. I'm not putting pressure on this at all. Spinning the bowl, just rolling it really with my hands. You don't need any of the strenuous stuff that a lot of people have been led to believe we do need. So there's a nice integrated dough, and it's nice and soft and sticky. It's what we want. So it's going to go back in here for another 2 hours of rising.